I'm Jenna Holland of Holland Homes. Today, we're at our most recently completed custom new built home. We completed this home late last year, and the property is very special because this client snagged one of the last available riverfront properties that's also inside of the city. This design was a little bit different than usual because right now this home is kind of a vacation home, but eventually this could be a family home, a primary residence. So I had to keep that in mind when designing the home. I wanted to keep it like a retreat or an escape, not fussy, but I also wanted to keep it warm and cozy and inviting. So I incorporated a lot of warm wood tones, a lot of white oak. I kept the cabinetry really traditional, but then I went in with some more contemporary light fixtures, and the furniture, a few pieces are a little bit more modern than usual as well. So I think overall it came together, and combining those two styles made it feel like this escape from the city, but also a warm and inviting space that you want to spend time in. So the most special thing about this home is definitely the property and the view, and we really wanted to make that the focal point. So the windows that we went with are really fancy windows. They're based out of Europe, and they're tilt and turn, and the black windows on the inside and the outside is another element that I kind of repeated throughout the home. So we see a lot of like warm whites and beige, white oak, and little hints of black everywhere. I had my hands on every aspect of this design, from the drawings to the paint colors to the fabric on the sofas, and it's probably been my biggest project to date. So I'm really excited today to walk you through each space and talk about the process and the design and all of the materials that I chose for every single room in this house. Walking through the front of the home, in the front foyer, we have beautiful 20-foot ceilings, and I always suggest that when you're building a home to do at least 9-foot ceilings, and if you can, if it's in the budget, vary those ceiling heights. So go 20 feet somewhere if you can, and maybe do a vault in another space. But in this home, we took the ceiling up to about 20 feet in that front foyer, and it gives it kind of a grand feeling, especially because when you walk in, you see the basement stairs as well. So we wanted it to feel architecturally special. So we went with a higher ceiling. We did a contemporary light fixture to kind of fill that space. And then right off the front foyer is another grand room because it's the space that we have a grand piano. So typically when a client comes to me, and if they have something like a grand piano, I would maybe decide to put it in like the living space, somewhere a little bit more central. But grand pianos are very expensive, and we wanted to protect this investment too from little guests that might be visiting this home or furry friends. So we decided to put it in its own kind of music space, but we did these beautiful double oak wood doors that can be opened to the rest of the home. And then when someone is sitting there playing the piano, they can be seen throughout the living space. The sight line is really great from the piano into the kitchen, living room, and open concept dining room. Moving out of the piano room into the open concept kitchen, dining room, family room, I really wanted to focus on the view. The view out the southern side of the home and out these sliding doors is one of the biggest reasons why this home and this property is so special. Seeing the river and the valley, it's just a beautiful picture of our city. So since I wanted this home to feel a little bit like a retreat or a vacation home, I loved the idea of the stone on the fireplace, and we actually continued the same stone from the exterior inside, and I kept it pretty clean lines, nothing too fancy or fussy, just a simple wood mantle, and of course a frame TV for art. And on the other side, instead of doing built-ins, I went with custom bookshelves. Sometimes with a new build or remodel, if there's a good budget, people want to do everything built in, but sometimes it's nice to just break up that feeling of cabinetry and built in and do some furniture pieces. It just lends more of an airy feeling. So we went with these custom bookshelves to flank either side of this fireplace. And then up top, we did the vaulted ceiling with a white oak shiplap and a beam. And I love how warm and inviting the ceiling makes this space feel. If it was all white, it would feel a little bit cold and kind of vast, but the white oak just brings a lot of warmth to the space. My favorite color is blue. I love using blue. I think I use it in every single home somewhere, especially when a home is on the water. I love to bring the color of the water into the home. So into the kitchen, the perfect opportunity to do a little bit of blue was in the soapstone countertops, and it just brought a organic, kind of earthy feel with the warmer grayish on the cabinets, and then that same white oak that we have on the ceilings and in the fireplace cabinets, we matched with the island and the cabinetry. And I also wanted the kitchen, again, not to feel too fussy since this is a vacation home. I didn't do any open shelving. Everything was glass and contained. So if someone did have to leave for a period of time, it doesn't get as dirty. And another thing about this kitchen is we didn't do a massive like back kitchen or scullery or pantry. We just did kind of a little pantry nook where the microwave and some smaller appliances can be stored, and coffee, and we did a sink, because if you want to put coffee in a pantry, it doesn't really make sense unless you have the sink, because then you're still having to go into the kitchen to get the water. So I always suggest if you are doing a pantry that's big enough to house your coffee, then you should add a sink too. It just makes life so much easier when you can turn the sink on, make your coffee in the coffee bar or the pantry, and then just go about your day and the rest of your beautiful home. Not far off the main living space of this home is a little powder room that I went darker on the walls with, again, kind of tying in some of the blue tones from the river view that you see in the kitchen and in the furniture. So the walls are all the same color of blue. It's like a greenish, earthy blue. We went on the ceilings, the trim, and the walls, so it really looks saturated and kind of dark and moody. And in the powder room, I didn't go with a vanity that was typical like cabinetry or custom. I always like, again, to break up some of that cabinetry and that built-in feeling. So we did this really pretty marble and polished nickel standalone pedestal vanity. It's kind of masculine too, which I liked for this home, and it worked really well with the black accents and the polished nickel. And I loved that vanity style so much that we are actually going to be doing a very similar one in our next home. So, and that always is what happens. I see stuff that I like in a certain home, and then I want to put it in my next home or in another project. So the powder room I love, and I'm probably going to adapt a lot of that style for our next home. For the finish in the kitchen, the metals, I did almost everything in a polished nickel. I love how the polished nickel looks with the soapstone and the white oak, and the little bit of brass on the sconces on the range wall just bring enough warmth to the space. And the marble backsplash is so beautiful and makes that pot filler look even nicer than it is. So the kitchen was one of the first things that I designed when we started to get into all the details of this home, and then the rest of the home kind of came after that, and I played off of the kitchen and kind of adapted little pieces in every other space of this home. My favorite room in this home has to be, I guess it's two rooms, but my favorite room would have to be the primary bedroom and then the primary ensuite bath. Some reason it just came together so beautiful. I think the beam and the furniture and the custom drapes, they all just worked so nicely together. And a lot of that is because the client was super trusting of my vision for this home. I had this masculine but cozy kind of feel with some linear patterns like you see in the rug, and then the warmth came in through the white oak flooring and then the beam. Moving into the bathroom, I've always wanted to do a black tub somewhere, and this house with the black windows just kind of called for a black tub in that space. And again, using the polished nickel accent the black so perfectly, and to kind of soften that harsh black metal, the really light filtering kind of breezy drapes in behind the tub just kind of created that juxtaposition of this masculine but soft and feminine space. We were originally going to do a much more larger double sink vanity in there, and the curved shape was Steve's idea, but I wanted towel storage as well, so we went with a smaller vanity. We still were able to fit two sinks, but then we added a tall linen tower beside those double sinks. It's not my favorite look to do two sinks with a built-on kind of linen tower. I like to break it up and add something separate that almost looks like furniture. And going with the glass fronts on the top just kind of made it feel a little bit more airy. And then doing the fluted glass it makes it feel a little bit more private too, so you can't see through the glass and see what's in there. It just helps for that private kind of bathroom space. And that fluted or that Rita detail is something that's continued into the kitchen. We did a detail in the drawer on those touchstone cabinets, so one of those repeating elements throughout the home. Something else that I love about the primary suite is, of course, I love the details and the design and all of the finishes and how they came together, but the location of the primary suite was very interesting and very functional because it's kind of off the living space, but you can also access the bathroom and the closet right into the mudroom laundry space, which has access to the garage. So sometimes when the client is coming home, they can just come right in through the garage and go right into their bedroom, bathroom, closet space, and it makes a lot of sense for function. Moving down to the basement, we have an additional family room that has sliding doors out to a backyard, which will eventually go out to a pool area. We'll probably come back in the summer and after the landscaping is done and the pool is in, and we'll shoot more then, but today we'll just kind of focus on the inside. The family room also has a wet bar, and off the wet bar is a library or a home study. There's also 2 guest rooms down there and a full guest bathroom. And there's an additional guest room upstairs that has enough space for a large king or queen size bed and a full size bathroom. Overall, this home, it was a few years in the making, and it came together just before Christmas time last year, and it was such a good feeling to see it all come to life and see the vision that I had, and every little throw pillow and rug and piece of furniture and light fixture just kind of get wrapped up in a nice little Christmas bow and start the new year knowing that this home is going to be enjoyed by the client. Thank you so much for watching. This has been me and Steve's biggest project to date, and I'm so excited to share it with you, and I can't wait to share even more projects like this with you soon.